Hey guys, welcome to my review for books 3 and 4 of Vinland Saga. Now I have to say there will be some major spoilers in this video. If you have not read up to the ending of book 4 of Vinland Saga, then do not watch this video. Even if you have no interest in Vinland Saga or have no idea what it's about, do not watch this video. Go read the manga, please buy the volumes to support the series so we can get some more printed, and then when you're caught up you can come back and hear my thoughts on it. Oh my god, where do I even begin with this one? So as you may know, I was sick last week, and the plan was for me to make a Vinland Saga review after finishing a book. However, once I finished book 3 and I was too sick to make a video, I was like, no, there is no way I am waiting until I am better to read more. So that's why you're getting a double review, so I will be breezing through most of the stuff that happened and just giving you my crazy thoughts on this series because it was insane. Now, I love the first two books of Vinland Saga. They were great, but 3 and 4 are just so good that Vinland Saga is now one of, if not my favorite manga series. That's why I've even been considering putting this higher than Full Metal Alchemist, which I have a review for that coming out soon, so you will get to hear all my thoughts on this, but I am considering as putting Vinland Saga as my number 1. So book 3 starts off with Thorkel and his men on Askeladd's trail. And we see Prince Canute still being a pussy talking with Ragnar, but then something crazy happens. Askeladd decides, you know what, Ragnar is holding Canute down, Canute's a pussy, we need to get rid of Ragnar. So they murder Ragnar, and then they tell Canute that it was the English who did it. Now, in this book in particular, Canute sees a crap ton of development. He turns from this pussy who can barely even speak for himself to this crazy leader who is fit to be a king. And this was Askeladd's plan all along. He basically wants King Sweyn dead. And King Sweyn wants Canute dead, which is the reason why he sent him out in the first place. Canute is first in line for the throne, however, Sweyn wants his second son to take his place. And this would be very easy if Canute were to die. Now, Thorkel's men attack, and we get a crazy action sequence that completely blew my mind. First off, I have to say the art. Holy crap, the art. Now, the art at the beginning of the series was very good. However, the difference between the beginning of the series and now is that when Vinland Saga started, it was a weekly serialization, and then it shortly shifted into a monthly serialization. Now, this of course gives the mangaka a lot more time to work on the art, and it looks absolutely phenomenal in these volumes. Just to compare how much better the art has gotten, here is a picture of Askeladd in book 1, and here is a picture of him in book 4. In book 3, we also get to see that Thorfinn has a rematch with Thorkel, and one of the crazy things that Thorkel does, just to show how much more powerful he is, he basically kicks Thorfinn, and he goes flying. The only reason he pretty much survives that is because he lands on some trees or stuff, but you know, he breaks a couple ribs, and he's all injured. And Askeladd and his men get completely destroyed. Askeladd's all injured. Pretty much all of his men died. Even Bjorn, who was, you know, like his most trusted warrior, he gets fatally wounded, and then he ends up having a final duel where Askeladd can finish him off and say, you know, what a great friend he was, and send him off to Valhalla. And book 3 ends off with Thorfinn and Askeladd basically joining Thorkel and Prince Canute to go visit King Sweyn and hopefully kill him. However, this will not be a very easy task because, you know, he is the king and they will need to plan ahead. And in this book, we see just how smart Askeladd is. It's really weird. It actually kind of reminded me of Death Note, which I just read. There's a lot of scenes in this book where Askeladd is contemplating stuff within his mind, making plans, and it sort of reminded me how Light used to make plans when he was doing crazy stuff with the Death Note. A bit of a weird comparison, but that's just what I thought it seemed like. Now, while in town going to visit the king, someone actually attempts to assassinate Canute. However, it was a body double. The double gets shot and basically dies, but when they take her clothes off, you find out it's actually a girl. And for a second there, I was like, whoa, no, that can't be right. I was gullible for a little while, thinking that Canute was actually a girl all along, but then, you know, when you think about it, like, there's no way he could get away with being a girl and be, you know, heir to the throne. Anyway, so I talked about how in Book 2 I was interested to see what happened with everyone else in Thorfinn's old village, and in Book 4, we get to see Leif Erikson again. And it turns out that for the past 10 years, he has been looking for Thorfinn, believing that he is still alive and he's probably a slave. So he's been going all around the place trying to find him and bring him back home. Now they are finally reunited, and Leif Erikson is so happy to see him. He wants him to come home. He says Ylva is now a mother and how it would be so great if he came home. However, Thorfinn could not go with him because he still has a task, which is his goal, and that is to kill Askeladd. And thus begins the feast. King Sweyn is now the King of England, and he has all the guys with him, and he's, you know, giving out land, doing all that crazy stuff kings used to do back in the 11th century. Canute is there, and Askeladd, and Thorkel, and you know something ain't right. This whole scene reminded me a lot of the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones, if any of you are into that series, because you know something is gonna happen, you know something bad is going down, but you don't know when and you don't know what exactly will happen. Which made this entire part incredibly suspenseful, and I just kept turning the pages. I really needed to know what was going to happen. And throughout the entire feast, Thorfinn was sitting outside, like he always does. He's never the one to, you know, want to join in on a feast. He will just eat outside alone, which, you know, he probably regrets now. So the king announces that he plans to invade Wales, which is where Askeladd is from. It is his homeland, and he does not want him to invade Wales. So he goes up to him and he proposes, he's like, now listen, is invading Wales the smartest thing to do? Maybe we should, you know, go about this other stuff. And the king's like, oh yes, you're right, oh yes. And he goes up to him, he's like, listen fool, I know what's up. I know Wales is your homeland, and now I have a proposition for you. I won't invade Wales if you kill Prince Canute. And at this point Askeladd's like, well, I don't like where this is going, so I'ma cut your head off. Yes, Askeladd realizes that the only way to stop the king from invading Wales and the only way for Canute to live on as king was to kill King Sweyn right then and there. And oh my god, that scene was so shocking for me. It's, you know, a whole double page thing where you just see him cut his head off. So after this happens, Canute is like, my god, he did it. You have my gratitude, Askeladd. He doesn't say this out loud, of course. But, of course, because now he is the new king, he will have to act as the king, and he orders his men to kill Askeladd. However, Askeladd isn't going down without a fight, and he starts hacking up people left and right, blood going everywhere, and Thorfinn's outside. He's like, yo, what's going on? Then he finds out what's going on. He's like, whoa, this can't happen. I have to kill Askeladd. That was my goal. That is the only reason I am pretty much alive right now. But alas, this could not be the case, as once Thorfinn enters and distracts Askeladd, Canute sends his sword through his heart. And then we have the death of Askeladd, one of my favorite manga characters ever. Now, Canute is hailed as a hero for killing the murderer of the king. However, Thorfinn is not that happy, because the past 10 years of his life, all the battles, all the training he's gone through, all the injuries, they have all been for the sole purpose to kill Askeladd in a duel which he was not able to do. So Thorfinn is obviously pissed, and he goes after Canute, but Canute's like, alright bruh, we won't kill you, because I know you really didn't want anything to do with this, and it kinda sucks for you, so you men, you just take him away. and I'll pick up that crown, put it on my head, all symbolic, I'm the king now. And yeah, now that would have been a good place to end the volume, but it keeps going, and we actually get a time skip to, I believe it's 2 years later, and we get introduced to this new character, a slave named Einar. Now Einar, who I believe will become a very important character later on, gets picked up by a new master who takes him to the farm, and he's like, alright, listen, I'm a pretty cool master. I mean, you work for me for a couple years, and I set you free. And then we find out that Thorfinn actually became a slave after the events that happened with Askeladd and the king, and now he is also working for this guy, and now they have to cut down the forest so they can farm some more. So yeah, that's what happened. And it kind of blew my socks off. Like, this whole part of the story was just done so masterfully, and I could not stop reading. It was amazing. It was incredible. Like I said, this could possibly be my favorite manga series now. I cannot wait to see where it's going to go. I have no idea where it's going to go. I mean, at this point it seems like Thorfinn has almost given up on life. I mean, he's a very skilled warrior, he has a lot of potential, and he's just there cutting trees. I'm also very interested to see what is going to go on with Canute now that he is the proper king and he is no longer a pussy, like, at all. His character just went crazy. He's all confident king now, he's all tough, and hopefully he will be a much better king than his father, although I don't know what's going to happen if him and Thorfinn ever meet each other again. That could be very interesting. So those were my crazy long thoughts on book 3 and 4 of Vinland Saga. Absolutely amazing, phenomenal series. I am so excited to continue reading. I have book 5 and 6 just waiting there for me on my shelf. I will still be buying book 7, of course, to support the series like all of you should do. However, I will continue to read online, and then I will 100% be reviewing Vinland Saga every month a new chapter comes out. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.